Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel Build Stuff and Bikes. Watch how I change this horrible little area from this to a lovely tiled boxed in section. Hold tight. So I've already cut the tiles on my lovely tile cutter. So I've cut them to a certain size that I need to fit the boxing in section. And here you can see where I've marked them with the tape where I'm going to cut the 50-degree mitre. Here's my measurements, allowing for the holes for the radiators where I'm going to fit some lovely round shrouds. And this is my tile cutter, which is an amazing piece of kit. So to cut the mitres, I'll be using my angle grinder, and I'll be using a polishing pad as well. So we'll be using 100 and a 200 grit polishing pad and a diamond cutting disc. I'll need the clamps as well. These will hold the tiles steady while I cut. So you can now see me cutting the mitre. I cut it over 45 degrees to around 50. This allows any deviations in the tile once it's cut to actually create the 45-degree mitre. If you undercut it, say 42 degrees, it will then just, the gap will be wrong and it will look very strange. Here you can see me putting on the polishing pad, and this is used to create the full mitre. Once you've cut it, you leave about 1 mil left, and then you use the polishing pad to polish it up so that it's a nice sharp mitre. So I'm gently polishing it now, and I'm leaving about 1 millimetre of material on the edge, because if you go right up to the edge you'll start to chip it and it'll look odd when you fill it with the resin. So I'm using 100 at first, and then when I get close to that millimetre of material left, and the mitre's overcut as stated before, around about 50 degrees, then I'll go to the 200 or the 400 polishing pad and gently clean it off. So because this isn't going on a wall like you normally do resin mitres, I'm using a batten to secure the boxing in sections together to hold the mitre. So I will use some sticks like poo adhesive on it. This worked really well actually, and I'm using my 90-degree clamps to secure it, and I'll leave it overnight to dry. First of all though, I'm going to clean it off with some rubbing alcohol to get all the dust and stuff off from where I cut it, and then I will proceed to use the sticks like poo glue, which was amazing, and I'll leave it, as I said, overnight, and this will allow it to dry nice and strong, ready to then start resin filling it with the epoxy. So it's full of silicone now. It's clamped to the 90-degree clamps, and I'll leave it overnight to cure, and then it'll be strong enough already, but when you add the epoxy it'll be really strong. So that'll be day 2. So day 2, I didn't do a full day yesterday, but we needed to let this dry. So you can see the batten there. I'm removing my 90-degree clamps and checking that the boxing in is secure and safe and strong, which it is because I use that sticks like poo. You can see now that we just got to fill this mitre. So it's come out alright, nice and strong. So that's going to be on the radiator like so, and that'll look very nice. So next to do the tenax and mix that up. So here's the tenax and hardener and the colours. So what we will be doing is taping off the box section of the tile, just leaving about 1 millimetre either side of the painter's tape. And then now you can see me mixing the tenax with the colour. So what you do is you mix up a whole load of this, and then you take bits off and add the hardener to them, and then add that to the tile. So if you don't, you'll mix up another lot and it will be a different sort of colour. So you need to mix up what you think you totally need for the application, and then keep that to one side, add a little bit of hardener, and then put that in, because it goes off quite quickly. You only need, I think it's 1% of hardener, so don't overdo it because it will go off like a rocket. So using a Stanley knife, I'm carefully cutting the resin off. You've got to time this right, normally about 10 minutes after it's started to go off. you can clean off the edge very carefully with the razor blade. But if you go too early or too late, you can cause yourself issues. So it's got to be just going off so it's hard enough to stay in a solid form, but not like wait an hour and then you will struggle even with the razor blade to get it off. So this is what I'm doing. I'm cleaning the edges now carefully with the razor blade, and then we'll go on to sanding to bring it to its final beauty. So all done, all sanded with the diamond hand pad to finish it off, and now it's ready for its holes.
Hello YouTubers, today I am removing a radiator from my kitchen. I've drained down, I'm on a combi boiler, and I'm also on a water softener. So I've bypassed the water softener. There's a bypass you plumb in when you do it, and so that's now in bypass, because when I refill the system you want to make sure it's not softened water, because it depends on the heat exchanger, aluminium or whatever, but I'm just sticking with not putting in. Mine's a Valiant boiler, 3 years old. So I've already drained down, I've cleaned the magnet filter out, I'll show you that in a minute, and I'm going to just remove the radiator, and then I'm going to fit my nice boxing in I've done with the resin mitre. Came out okay, nice and strong. So yeah, I battened it there and filled it with resin. So we're going to fit these rather nice covers, proper professional ones, not the cheap ones. Drill the holes into there, mark it up. So now I've got to take the radiator off.
So I'm just offering it up to the radiator so I can mark where I need to drill my holes for the radiator pipe. So I'm removing the radiator. I've not videoed me draining down the system because that's just for a separate video, but it's a combi system, so I've had to drain it down so that I can remove the radiator.
I now need to take my olives off. So this is an olive splitter, so it goes on, it's very good. You push it on like that, onto there, because I need to, and then you now turn this round and it'll pull the olive off. Saves hacksaw in it. There you go, and we'll fit a new one. So just get the other side off. So I'm just getting a rough mark.
So this was a bit tricky lining this up to mark where to drill the 18mm holes for the 15mm copper pipe. So I used a green painter's tape and taped that on, because you can't really mark these tiles because they're the smooth, highly polished, slippery porcelain. So I used the green painter's tape to mark where to drill the holes.
Now I'm gonna put this on. This is 18mm. And drill through the marked holes in through the porcelain. This is porcelain, softish porcelain, cheap, but so hold tight.
So I'm using a diamond bit and a wet chamois to keep the drill bit cool. This is porcelain, so it's quite hard, and this just helps prolong the life of the drill bit.
Sticks like stuff. So I forgot to film actually, but I've put 3 battens, one on the bottom, one on the top with the grab adhesive. Let that go off for a bit, didn't need to screw it, and then I've plonked that down. And then I've had to cut these radiator brackets down off there, because I can't use those bottom screws, so they'll be like that. And then we're going to add the radiator. They can go on now. Look lovely, don't they? That's where the other one is. So I plonk them on, and then we've got our fitting to go on. I hope all this works. I'll go and get the other one. So using the old joint compound.
So always use joint compound to ensure a leak-free connection. And careful not to over tighten when you're using joint compound, because it can easily damage the olives.
So it's nice resin mitered, nice metal proper copper collars, not the snap-on ones. I've just got to put the edge side, the coat this on now, and refill the system and bleed it, but I'll show you that in another video. Hold tight!